Imagine you're in Berlin, Germany, June 12th, 1987. There's a sea of people around you and a man on the stage, and now you hear those famous words, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." My inspiration is President Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan is an inspiration to so many young Americans today. Ronald Reagan grew up in a small town in Illinois. He went on and followed his dreams to become an actor. He'd become president of the Actors Guild Award, governor of California, and now we know, president of the United States in 1980. He'd win 2 decisive electoral college victories, both in 1980 and 1984. President Reagan was a fighter. That's what makes him an inspiration to me. He was the president of the Guild Award during the Red Scare. He became governor of California, which California we know is a very blue state. And then he'd defeat an incumbent president in 1980. And then he would end his life fighting the horrible disease of Alzheimer's. President Reagan had a great integrity behind him, but what also made him loved was his great sense of humor. One of my favorite jokes from him came from a White House briefing on February 29th, 1984, and this is what he says, quoted, "Thomas Jefferson once said, 'We should never judge a president by his age, but only by his words. And ever since he told me that, I stopped worrying. And just to show you how youthful I am, I intend to campaign in all 13 states. This is one of the many jokes President Reagan told during his time as presidency. But he was also a fighter, like I said. It is accredited to him of the ending of the Cold War. And with the quote I started with, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." That was one of the signaling phrases of this period. Ronald Reagan would continue to fight, but Ronald Reagan also was an inspiration, like I said. Another one of my favorite quotes from him is, "There is no limit to the amount of good you can do if you don't care who gets the credit." And that is something we should all live by. And I believe that's what President Reagan lived by. That he didn't matter who got the credit, as long as everyone was happy. President Reagan, like I said, ended his life as a fighter with his announcements of Alzheimer's. I have this wonderful book, Quotations of Ronald Reagan, that I like to read. The last quote in here from November 5th, 1994. "I now begin the journey that will lead me into the sunset of my life. I know that for America there will always be a bright dawn ahead." And there sure was a bright dawn ahead, thanks to President Reagan. So many young people today grew up not knowing President Reagan. And so many people today lived in the time as President Reagan. But he's an inspiration to us all. Like he says, he leads himself into the sunset of his life, that he knows that America will always be a bright dawn ahead. And it truly is. America is always a bright dawn ahead, thanks to great men like President Reagan. Thank you.